Okay, so my hair is a bit messed up. Wearing a hat all day long. We're in a heat wave right now. The high was, I believe, 11 degrees, as opposed to 3 days ago when the high was negative 16, minus 16 degrees. That is uncalled for. Uh, why did anybody settle this far north? And we're not even that far north. It's because of the damn Himalayas that we're... Okay, forget all that. Get a question, right? It says, Yusef, I think it's common knowledge. Ugh, I don't like that. I hate when people say common knowledge, but no, this is somebody... I don't think I've ever talked to this person, so... Is common knowledge how much the East respects John Chrysostom? Absolutely. The modern form of our liturgy, and when I say modern, I mean 1600 years ago, is the style that John Chrysostom kind of he didn't really change things around. He just that's a whole nother video. But yes, absolutely, we dig him. His name Chrysostom is the golden tongue. He was called also John of Antioch, but there was other Johns of Antioch, so he's Chrysostom, yeah, the golden tongue. But how do Orthodox balance that respect when they consider that the Nazis were also big supporters of his hatred for the Jews? I appreciate your time and work. Well, thank you. But we existed, 2,000 years before the Nazis, or at least 1900. It's just like, how could you drink tea when, Mao Zedong drank tea? First of all, John Chrysostom was writing at a time when it wasn't just Christian against Jew, right? It was, the Jews also had a lot of persecution that they did to the Orthodox, or the Christians, and there was the Samaritans, and there were the Mazdians, the Zoroastrians. So it was back and forth kind of stuff for a lot of it, and it's very interesting. I have a few videos on it. John Chrysostom is mostly talking against the Judaizers. It's like if you were to read Paul's letter to the Galatians. If you weren't familiar with what a Judaizer was, you would think, oh, he's talking bad about the Jews. Well, he's not. He's talking about Gentiles who are trying to attach the Jewish law to the gospel. But the Nazis were completely anti-Christian. I mean, they liked Luther. They liked anything that would forward their sick idea of social Darwinism. They forwarded, but actually, and I mean, you can look this up. I think it's in, I believe it's in Wikipedia, as well as the Catholic Encyclopedia. The Orthodox, the Eastern Orthodox, and the Jews actually got along better than the Protestants and Jews or the Catholics and Jews. There was somebody who's very close to my heart. I played a small part, or possibly a small part, in her... well, no, I didn't play any part, but I talked to her. She'd seen my videos, and then she wound up going to attending an Eastern Orthodox church and was baptized, and she's Jewish, right? She had seen the other forms of Christianity, and basically she had a miracle. She had actually had contact with the transfigured Christ, but when she saw Christianity of Protestants and Catholics, she just like, ugh, I don't want, no. But when she saw Orthodoxy, she goes, oh wait, that's not the hostileness of here, or the sappiness of here, or the kind of the neediness. she was able to come into the church and not reject any of the truths of her past. In fact, I can, in many ways, I can relate more to my Orthodox Jewish friends than I can to Protestant. Do I have any Protestant friends? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. They're not big into going to church, but they would identify as Protestants. I'd gotten another message, and I can't find it. It asked me, like, why do people, why are the Eastern Orthodox always siding with the Muslims just because they hate the Jews or something? And I don't know where this is coming from. Yeah, there were pogroms in Russia, and there was, I mean, there's always religions fight, right? But I mean, if you look at the time when the Catholics and Protestants were ripping each other to shreds and burning Jews in Western Europe, you have from the See of Constantinople and a few other places in the 1500s, 1400s and 1500s, where there's sound condemnation of mistreating Jews or treating Jews any differently than you would with a baptized Christian. So, I mean, Hitler distorted many things. I mean, should we throw out evolution? Should we throw out rocketry? Should we throw out any of the contributions that might have come up during the Nazis? I mean, Hitler promoted the German language. Is that an indictment against anybody who spoke German before Hitler was around? He can twist Chrysostom all he wants, but when you actually get down and read Chrysostom, it's mainly against the Judaizers and the sect that had come off of the Pharisees. The Pharisees were pretty much the only sect of Jews that remained in existence. People could say, oh, the Karaites are from the Sadducees. I don't buy that, but you had this period where it was rabbinical Judaism, but it was between what we would identify as rabbinical Judaism and the Pharisees. And let's keep in mind, again, I don't blame any Jew today for what happened, but when Julian, under the persecution of the pagans, it was shocking to us that the Jews collaborated with the pagan Romans. Not everywhere. Sometimes there were places where Christian and Jew kind of defended each other. But that was actually, I mean, the Christians and the Jews got along in Ethiopia. Look, they lived side by side, before the stupid airlifts in the 80s. They didn't need to go to Israel. They had their own land. They were living there. And they should have fought off the communists. Well, they were trying to. You can't blame them. But lived in total peace with Christian and Eastern Orthodox and Jew lived in peace for at least 1,800 years. Or 17, whichever date you want to put to that. That's another video. But then when Julian the Apostate came around, after Christianity was tolerated, the Jews were quick to kind of take the property from the Christians, because Julian the Apostate said, "Oh, blessed art the poor. We'll make you poor. We'll take away your land. We'll take away this." And you could point to the Talmud, where there is the impostor Yeshu, who was the son of a whore, Miriam, and who was worshipped a brick, and was a sorcerer. And him and John the Baptist are boiling in excrement in hell, and all this kind of stuff. And if you look at who the Min or the Minute are in the Talmud, and in Sanhedrin, it's pretty vile stuff. But of Chrysostom's writings, it's not officially a spokesman of the Eastern Orthodox Church, but I think you'd find that it's not as inflammatory as many make it out to be. Hitler was for evolution and used it in a bad way, social Darwinism, but that doesn't mean that anybody who believes in adaptation and change is a Nazi. So the Eastern Orthodox have actually gotten along better with Jews and shown more humanity to the Jewish people than than the uh, than the West, Protestant or Catholic. Not to mention that we have been on the receiving end of the worst brutality from the Muslims. We have been on the receiving end of that, which that's kind of schizophrenic for me to say, because first 20 years of my life practicing Muslim, right? So there's that kind of, who am I saying we? What do I mean we? Even with me when I'm talking. But the Eastern Orthodox, right now in Syria, look what the hell's happening there. But I guess that's more of a response to that other question that I can't find anymore. But yeah, that's what I would say to it. Hitler was an ass. Hitler wasn't even a Catholic. He was a frickin' atheist, materialist who liked pagan imagery. And he was a politician, so yeah, he'd suck up to the Lutherans when, he to get them to rally to join his cause, and then he'd go and talk to the Catholics. And the Christ that he believed in, he didn't believe in the Christ. He believed in the Albigensian Christ, positive Christianity, non-Jewish Christianity. Blessed art the meek. Hitler hated that saying. He was eventually going to eradicate Christ out of everything, because when you come down to it, you cannot avoid Christ was a Jew born of a Jewess in a Jewish land. He spoke a language familiar to the Jews, Aramaic, and went to the Jewish temple. You can't. The only Christianity he liked was the Cathars, the Albigensians, which is funny. Oh, they're the peaceful ones. Well, Hitler didn't find them that way, and Hitler liked this positive Christianity, which was just vile and sick and cruel and mean. You could say, well, Hitler had believed in a form of Jesus Christ, so is that an indictment on every Christian that ever existed? No. Hitler was an ass. So I guess that's how I'd answer that. But peace to you, and thank you very much for the question. If you have any questions or topics you want me to address, just send them to me, and I will be glad to make a video. Take it easy. Peace to you. May God save Serbia, Syria, and Ireland. And I got a kick-ass Roman coin today. Somebody gave it to me that was, it's from Constantine. Take it easy. Okay, so my hair is a bit messed up. Wearing a hat all day long. We're in a heat wave right now. The high was, I believe, 11 degrees, as opposed to 3 days ago when the high was negative 16. Minus 16 degrees. That is uncalled for. Why did anybody... He was called also John of Antioch, but there was other Johns of Antioch, so he's, Chrysostom, yeah, the golden tongue. But how do Orthodox balance that respect when they consider that the Nazis were also big supporters of his hatred for the Jews? I appreciate your time and work. Well, thank you. Well, we existed modern form of our liturgy, and when I say modern, I mean 1600 years ago. Is the style that John Chrysostom kind of he didn't really change things around. He just that's a whole nother video, but yes, absolutely, we dig him. His name, Chrysostom, is the golden tongue. Settled this far north. And we're not even that far north. It's because of the damn Himalayas that we're... Okay, forget all that. Get a question, right? It says, Yusef, I think it's common knowledge. Ugh, I don't like that. I hate when people say common knowledge, but no, this is somebody... I don't think I've ever talked to this person, so... Is common knowledge how much the East respects John Chrysostom? Absolutely. 2,000 years before the Nazis, or at least 1900? It's just like, how could you drink tea when, Mao Zedong drank tea? First of all, John Chrysostom was writing at a time when it wasn't just Christian against Jew, right? it was, the Jews also had a lot of persecution that they did to